We met at a charity gala downtown. She was standing near the stage, laughing like she owned the room. Her name was Madison Cole, and she looked like perfection in red. I remember thinking she didn't belong in a crowd. She belonged on a cover. I was there with coworkers, pretending to network, but my eyes stayed on her. When our eyes met, she smiled like she'd known me forever. I introduced myself, awkwardly confident, the way men do when they're already lost. She talked about art, travel, and her dreams of starting her own company. I talked about markets, investments, and the future. She made me feel interesting, like I wasn't just another finance guy. By the end of the night, I had her number and a feeling I couldn't shake. Our first date was dinner at a rooftop restaurant. She showed up late, but I didn't care. Every second she spoke, I forgot to finish my drink. She had this effortless charm that made people want to listen. She asked smart questions, laughed at the right moments, and touched my hand lightly. I thought it was connection. Maybe it was calculation. By the third date, she knew my favorite scotch, my gym schedule, my ambitions. I knew almost nothing about her, except that she was enchanting. She worked in event planning, she said, but hated the corporate grind. She wanted freedom, creativity, something bigger. I told her I admired that. She said I made her feel safe, like she could finally breathe. It felt good to be needed. Within a few months, she was spending most nights at my place. It started small. A toothbrush, a makeup bag. Then came clothes, shoes, and her favorite blanket. Soon her presence filled every room. She said her apartment was noisy, her roommate annoying, her neighborhood unsafe. Of course, I told her to stay as long as she needed. I liked waking up next to her. I liked how she made coffee while I checked the markets. I liked how she smiled when I handed her my credit card for dinner. When she said she was short on rent, I didn't think twice. When her car needed repairs, I covered it. It felt natural. That's what love does. It blinds you with generosity. She started dressing better, talking about networking and brand deals. She said she was building her own path. I believed her. She thanked me with soft kisses and promises of forever. I didn't notice the way she avoided questions about her income. I didn't notice the new designer bags she couldn't explain. I didn't care. All I saw was a woman who made my life feel fuller. Every friend said she was out of my league. I laughed it off, proud, stupidly proud. Looking back, I realized I wasn't her partner. I was her ladder. And she was already climbing. By the 6th month, she was practically living with me. Her name was on nothing, but her things were everywhere. I didn't mind at first. I liked the company. She made my apartment feel less like a bachelor's fortress and more like a home. But slowly, things started to shift. She began calling it our place. She rearranged the furniture. She replaced my gray towels with soft white ones that cost a fortune. When I joked about it, she said, "It's an investment in our future." It sounded harmless back then. She quit her job one afternoon over coffee. Her boss was toxic, she said. She wanted to follow her dream, building her own brand online. She called it lifestyle influencing. She'd post photos of breakfast, yoga, and sunsets from my balcony. She said success takes time. I told her I believed in her. That was my first mistake. Soon she started asking for small favors. "Can you cover dinner tonight? I'm between payments. My card's maxed, but I'll pay you back next week." She never did. Then came the bigger asks. Hair appointments, gym memberships, new outfits for content creation. She called it business expenses. I called it love. I told myself I was helping her chase her dream. The truth was, I was funding her lifestyle. Her social media started to grow, but her income didn't. She had 2,000 followers, and maybe one sponsor. She spent more time posing than planning. When I worked late, she'd complain I didn't make enough time for her. When I took her to dinner, she'd complain the restaurant wasn't aesthetic enough. I should have seen it then. But she always had a way of pulling me back in. One smile, and the argument was over. She began speaking like a celebrity. We should travel more for content. We should upgrade your car. It's part of the image. Your car, not ours. Your money, not hers. But I didn't say that out loud. Every morning, I woke up next to a woman who looked like a dream. Every night I fell asleep next to someone I didn't really know. My friends started noticing. They joked about me turning into an ATM with feelings. I laughed it off. Madison would whisper that they were jealous, that they didn't understand what we had. And I wanted to believe her, because believing her was easier than admitting I'd been played. The bills kept growing. Her ambition never paid for a single one. I was earning more than ever, yet saving less than before. She said money doesn't buy happiness. But somehow, her happiness was always the most expensive thing in the room. I told myself love meant sacrifice. But love shouldn't feel like signing another credit card bill. By the time I realized it, she already owned the space between my heart and my wallet. I proposed on a cold December night. A rooftop restaurant, candlelight, a skyline glowing behind her smile. She cried, said yes, and hugged me like I'd given her the world. For a while, I thought I had. I bought a custom ring that cost more than my first car. She posted it everywhere. Photos, hashtags, captions about true love, and finally found my forever. Her post got hundreds of comments, and she read every one out loud. I should have realized the likes mattered more than the promise. From that moment, our engagement became a production. She wanted a wedding worthy of our story. Translation: expensive, curated, picture perfect. She showed me venues with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Every option came with another zero on the price tag. When I hesitated, she said, "You can afford it, Ethan, don't be cheap." It was no longer about us. It was about the performance. The venue deposit alone was $12,000. The photographer she wanted charged $5,000. The catering menu looked like a fine dining festival. She called it once in a lifetime. I called it unsustainable. But each time I tried to slow down, she teared up. "You don't want me to have my dream wedding." So I gave in. Every conversation turned into a negotiation. I always lost. Her wedding planner became her new best friend. They spent hours picking flower arrangements and lighting colors. I worked late nights to pay for them. She talked about our future like we were royalty. We needed a bigger house, a vacation home, a nanny someday. Her business, she said, was about to take off. It never did. She bought new clothes for engagement photos. She booked content shoots at luxury hotels. Everything went on my cards. When I mentioned the budget, she accused me of not believing in her vision. I remember standing in a boutique, watching her try on a $4,000 dress. She spun in front of the mirror, glowing with pride. "It's my dream dress," she whispered. I said nothing. Dreams, I learned, can be very expensive. Her friends praised her online. Madison's living the dream. Meanwhile, I was calculating how much debt love could tolerate. We had meetings with florists, bakers, photographers, and stylists. She spoke, I paid, they smiled. She told me we were building a memory. I realized we were building a bill. At night, I'd stare at the ceiling, wondering if this was normal. If love was supposed to feel like a financial strategy gone wrong. But when she curled up next to me and said, "You make me feel so safe," I forgot the numbers again. That's the thing about love. It can make you ignore every warning sign if it's spoken softly enough. I thought I was marrying my soulmate. In reality, I was sponsoring a brand. It started small. Late night texts, sudden gym sessions, new clothes for content shoots. Madison said she was focusing on herself before the wedding. I believed her because that's what love does. It blinds you with trust. She started mentioning a name I hadn't heard before. Ryan. An old college friend, she said. He'd reached out after seeing her engagement post. He's just giving me advice on growing my brand, she said casually. Something in her tone didn't sit right. Her phone was always face down. Notifications silenced. When I walked into the room, she'd locked the screen and smiled too quickly. Her nights out became more frequent. Girls' dinners twice a week. Rooftop bars, luxury lounges, photos tagged, self-care nights. But her sister's Instagram told a different story. One post showed a man's arm in the frame. Gold watch, expensive shirt, no caption. Another showed Madison at a beach resort, laughing in a bikini I'd never seen. I started connecting dots I didn't want to see. She came home glowing, like someone freshly adored. When I asked about it, she said I was insecure, that I needed to trust her. So I did, even when my gut screamed otherwise. Then one Thursday night, she sat me down on the couch. "Ethan, I've been thinking," she began softly. Her voice trembled, but her eyes didn't. "I feel like we're rushing into this wedding. Maybe I need space." The air went still. We'd been engaged for over a year. Space. She said she needed to find herself, to think about what she truly wanted. It sounded rehearsed. I asked how long she'd be gone. "Just a few weeks, maybe a month," she said. I asked if she wanted to stay in touch. "I think no contact would be best for both of us." It felt like a breakup disguised as reflection. She packed 2 suitcases that night. Took her laptop, makeup, and half the decorations she'd added to my apartment. "I'll be staying with Olivia," she said before leaving. When the door closed, the silence was deafening. The apartment smelled like her perfume and betrayal. I tried to respect her wish for space. I went to work, hit the gym, stayed busy. But curiosity turned into suspicion. I checked social media, something I rarely did. Olivia's post showed Madison smiling beside Ryan. Dinner tables for 2. Weekend getaways labeled great company. It wasn't space she wanted. It was freedom without guilt. The woman planning a future with me was test driving another one. For weeks, I kept the anger inside. I wanted to hear it from her own mouth. But I already knew. Madison wasn't finding herself. She was shopping for a better deal. And I, the man who thought he had everything, was about to lose the illusion of love. 4 weeks passed before she called again. Unknown number, but I knew it was her. Her voice was cheerful, too cheerful. "Ethan, I've been thinking about us," she said. "I'm ready to come home and plan the wedding again." I stayed silent for a few seconds. Then I said, "That's interesting, Madison, because I've been thinking too." She laughed nervously. "Oh good, maybe we both just needed some space." I took a deep breath. I've decided our relationship is over. There was silence on the other end. Then disbelief. "What? No, we were just taking a break." "A break that involved beach trips with Ryan," I said calmly. She froze. "Ryan's just a friend," she insisted. "Then your friend seems very romantic in those photos." Her voice cracked. "You've been spying on me." "No," I said, "just paying attention to public evidence." She started crying, saying I misunderstood everything. That Ryan meant nothing, that she just got confused. I told her confusion doesn't cost thousands on my credit card. Her tone changed from pleading to defensive. "It's our card, Ethan. You can't just—" "It's my card. You were added to it, big difference." She gasped like the reality finally hit her. "You can't do this. We're engaged." "Not anymore," I said. I told her the locks were changed and her things were packed. She screamed that I was being cruel, irrational. I told her she could pick up her belongings with a friend present. When she showed up 2 days later, she looked tired and hollow. Her sister Olivia came with her, acting like a lawyer. Boxes were stacked by the door. She glanced at the kitchen counter. Her eyes locked on the espresso machine. "You didn't pack my coffee machine," she said. "It's not yours," I replied. "I picked it, I used it every day." "And I paid for it every time," I said. She started shaking. "Olivia called me heartless." I smiled politely and told her to carry the boxes. Madison demanded her engagement ring back. "The ring stays," I said. "You broke the engagement." She started crying again, saying I'd regret losing her. I told her she'd already lost me. She stormed out, shouting that Ryan treats her like a queen. I wished her good luck being royal on a waitress budget. When the door closed, I locked all 3 deadbolts. The silence felt clean for the first time in months. That night, I went through every expense, every receipt. Her dresses, cameras, spa bills, all gone from my accounts. I canceled every vendor for the wedding. Refunds weren't full, but freedom was priceless. I poured myself coffee from that espresso machine she wanted so badly. It tasted like closure. She thought she could play both sides. But she forgot one rule. You can't manipulate a man who's finally stopped loving you. 4 months passed after the day she left. Life felt quiet again, almost peaceful. I focused on work, rebuilt my savings, and slept without stress. Then I started hearing small updates about Madison. Apparently, Ryan didn't turn out to be her fairy tale. He dated her for 2 months before disappearing completely. One day he stopped answering her texts. Just like that, the luxury dinners and rooftop photos were over. She tried moving back with her sister Olivia. That lasted only 2 weeks. Turns out living rent-free with a chronic complainer wasn't appealing. Madison's influencer career never took off. Her follower count froze, sponsors vanished, and bills piled up. She ended up working at a customer service center. From brand trips to a cubicle in less than a season. Karma doesn't always knock. It sometimes sends an email. A few weeks later, I started getting unknown messages. "Hey, it's me. Can we talk?" Then another. "I miss you, Ethan. I made mistakes. Please call." I didn't reply to any of them. Then the messages turned desperate. "I lost my job. My rent's overdue. I don't know what to do. I know I don't deserve help, but please, I'm begging you." Each word reeked of panic, not love. She wasn't missing me. She was missing stability. I blocked every number she used. She started showing up at my building. The doorman told me she'd wait for hours in the lobby. I used the back entrance until she stopped coming. Then one night, a letter appeared under my door. It was handwritten, full of regret and apology. She said she'd been scared, confused, and stupid. That Ryan meant nothing. That I was her one true love. She said she'd do anything to fix things. I didn't respond. I threw the letter in a drawer and moved on. 2 months later, I saw her at a restaurant downtown. I was dining with clients, wearing a new tailored suit. She was at another table, on what looked like a first date. Her clothes were cheap, her makeup faded, her smile tired. When she saw me, her face went pale. She came over, pretending to be casual. "Ethan, you look incredible," she said softly. I nodded. "How's the influencer business?" She laughed nervously. "It's challenging. The market's tough right now." Then she whispered, "Can we grab coffee sometime?" I asked, "Aren't you on a date?" "It's nothing serious," she said quickly. "I just miss you." I smiled and stood up. "Try not to mention your ex who paid for everything. It's bad for first impressions." Her eyes filled with tears as I walked away. That night, I made myself a cappuccino from the same espresso machine. The one she once claimed was hers. The foam rose perfectly. It tasted like victory, like peace. She played the game for money. I played it for love. And in the end, she lost the only man who ever truly cared. Sometimes, I think about how close I came to marrying her. How different my life would be if I ignored the truth. It's strange how love can turn into a lesson you never asked for. I learned that loyalty isn't proven by words, but by consistency. That beauty fades fast when it hides entitlement beneath the surface. Madison wanted luxury without effort, validation without honesty. She thought she was playing a clever game, but she forgot that real success can't be borrowed or begged for. I stopped chasing people who see love as an investment plan. I started valuing peace over attention. Now I'm with someone who doesn't need saving. Her name is Lauren, and she builds her own life every day. She pays her share, respects my time, and loves without conditions. There are no secrets, no hidden motives, no auditions for wealth. When I look back, I don't feel anger anymore. Just relief. Because sometimes losing the wrong person is how you win. Gold diggers think they're playing chess. But the truth is simple. They always end up checkmated by their own greed.